The United States has lost every single war game against China. They're currently $37 trillion in debt. And even the United States' own defense secretary admits that the US doesn't have the capability of going into all-out war. Here's what's actually happening. Pete Hegseth admitted in every single war game that the US Pentagon runs against China, they've lost. Every single one. With China building replications of US surface vessels in the desert and their development of hypersonic missiles to strategically defeat the United States' most important assets, with the goal of being able to do this in the first 20 minutes of a conflict. Meanwhile, the United States is still using military armaments that were designed for the last wars of the generations, while also trying to maintain 750 military bases across the planet that we know of. And while this is happening, the dollar was the dominant power for the United States. It's what gave America its superpower. You can print money, you can impose sanctions, and you control the world's global finance. But now we're paying nearly $1 trillion per year on just the interest payments alone, while all of the BRICS nations are collectively building alternative payment systems. So when you owe $37 trillion and other countries start the process of not using your currency, the empire's engine, the thing that keeps it going, begins to stall and inevitably begins to fail. The real problem is that America itself doesn't even believe that it's a superpower anymore. You have political polarization right here domestically. You have social unrest. And American people, with polls, show an overwhelming distrust for the American government and all institutions. Even American allies have started to see America as unpredictable and extremely isolated, especially with the Trump policies of America first. You can't run a global dominating empire when your own domestic nation is beginning to fragment. And that's why America, and especially Donald Trump, as we saw in his campaign, is desperate to try and end the war in Ukraine. Because the true person that's causing all of this unrest for America in their perspective is China. He's taking up more and more of the economic share of the planet. It has the military and industrial base that is outpacing the United States in production. China, of course, is rivaling the United States in all of the economic and technological edges that the US had before. China is still behind in semiconductor technology, but when we compare where China was 10 years ago to where China is today, the gap between the US and China is narrowing. So the United States' plan for strategic sequencing, because they realize that they can't fight Iran, Russia, and China all at the same time, only really works when you are strong enough to fight against your enemies. But you're not strong enough. You're not strong enough when your own nation is fragmented, when there is chaos at home, when the people in your levels of bureaucracy are on different sides and want different things. The unipolar dominance that the Americans had on the planet was always going to be temporary. It was not something that would last forever. What does? It only lasted 80 years because the world believed in the American power. It believed in American culture. It believed in America's military might. But now that belief is gone, as more and more nations wake up to the reality of what the US will do with its finances and the financial hold it has on the planet, as it wakes up to the reality of the United States' military prowess and their failures against the bombardments of Iran, or the military equipment that the US uses in Russia, yet they're still not winning the conflict decisively. That belief in America is gone, and that is beginning the process of multipolarity, which is not coming in the future, it's arguably already here.